Peter Drucker once said, "The greatest danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence. It is to act with yesterday's logic." Today, we're at that dangerous edge. Looking at system evolution, management was never eternal truth. Not because the theory is flawed, but because its subject, the human, carbon-based brain, is being replaced. When that happens, management's very reason to exist gets physically removed. So the future of business isn't about better management with AI. It's about the end of management. It's not about right or wrong, but rather about structural inevitability. When execution no longer depends on biological beings, the system built for biology has finished its job. Modern management was built on shaky ground, a swamp called biological limits. For the past century, every management tool we've invented was essentially a patch for the human brain. We invented KPIs, not because they perfectly measure value, but because human brains always struggle to stay focused. We forget, so we need signposts. We invented hierarchy, not because it's efficient, but because human working memory can only handle 7 plus or minus 2 things. To avoid overload, we compressed information into layers. We invented incentives, not to create value, but to fight our natural motivation, decay, and entropy. Management never truly made organizations smarter. It was a sophisticated correction system, trying to lock in correctness before human minds fail. When execution relied on humans, a company is just a container built to fit the flaws of the brain. So what are we replacing it with? Please remember, when I say agent, I don't mean a faster software. I mean a being with a completely different cognitive anatomy. If put a human employee and an AI agent side by side, you'll see 3 fundamental physical differences. The first difference is the memory continuity. Human memory is instant and fragile, since we sleep to reset, and thus context breaks. But agents have evermem, which is eternal memory. What they possess is not broken workflows, but continuous history. They don't forget, don't need handoff, because every decision is based on the full historical record. The second difference is the holographic awareness. Humans have limited bandwidth. We filter through hierarchy, while agents have context alignment. They don't need weekly sync meetings. The organization's entire knowledge network is transparent to them in real time. Thus, what they see is the whole picture, not just fragments. The last difference is the evolving motivation. Human drive relies on dopamine and external rewards, which would easily fade. But agent action comes from reward model tension. They don't need be motivated. Every action is about steering toward the goal. So, this isn't just a stronger employee. This is a new species, operating on different physical laws. Now, what happens when we force this new species with its continuous memory, holographic awareness, and internal motivation into an old management cage built for humans? Systematic rejection has begun. The 5 pillars of the modern company are turning from necessary support into intelligent constraint. KPI has collapsed from navigation to ceiling. We needed KPIs because humans get lost. But for an agent that always locks on its goal, rigid KPIs even limit its ability to explore better paths. It's like giving a self-driving car a fixed track and expecting it to avoid sudden obstacles. Hierarchy has collapsed from filter to blocker. We needed hierarchy because humans' brains would overload. But for an agent that can handle thousands of data points, hierarchy is not longer a filter, but actually a blocker. In an intelligent network, every middle layer is useless noise. Incentive has collapsed from fuel to static. Using external rewards on an agent is like rewarding gravity with candy. It's pointless and absurd. Agents don't need dopamine. They need more precise data feedback. Long-term planning has collapsed from map to simulation. We made 5-year plans because we can't simulate fast-changing futures. But for agents, static maps are replaced by real-time world model simulation. Since they can simulate 10,000 futures within a second, why cling to a map printed 6 months ago? Oversight also have collapsed from correction to redundancy. Traditional oversight system is designed to prevent humans from mistakes. But for an agent, to understand is to execute, to sense is to act. Oversight isn't about distrusting the execution process. It's about recalibrating the goal itself. If we throw away these biological crutches, what does a real AI native company look like? It's not about choosing certain softwares, but about what form a company should take. A true AI native company must rewrite its genes with 5 traits. First, architecture is intelligence. Old org charts are sociology aiming to solve social friction. But AI native architecture is computer science. The whole company is a giant, distributed computational graph. Departments aren't just power centers, they're functional model nodes. Reporting lines aren't just for orders, they're data buses. The company's goal shifts from controlling risk to maximizing data flow and intelligence. Second, growth is compounding. Old growth stacks people linearly, costs rise with scale. But AI native growth compounds cognitively. Agents have zero marginal learning cost. It means one success can teach the entire network instantly. Therefore, a company's value won't depend on headcount, but on its rate of cognitive compounding. Third, memory is evolution. Intelligence without memory is just an algorithm. Only with memory, it becomes a species. Old companies have scattered and fragile dead data. But an AI native company needs a readable, writable, evolving long-term memory, so that every decision, interaction, and bit of tacit knowledge becomes part of the company's subconscious. This is the basis for temporal structure, the ability to evolve across time. Fourth, execution is training. In the old model, execution consumes value, but in the AI native way, execution is car process of exploring. There's no mere execution teams. All teams are model training teams. Every business interaction is a Bayesian update to the internal world model. Thus, business flow is training flow, and action is learning. Fifth, humans are meaning. This is an ethical reset for company. Humans are no longer the fuel. They become the intent curator and cognitive architect. Agents are solving how, finding the optimal path in infinite possibility space. At the same time, humans handle the uncomputable ambiguity, defining why, setting the reward function for aesthetics, ethics, and direction. So, intelligence expands the boundaries of the possible, while humans define what's meaningful inside them. This aligns with what we called discoverative AI. The core idea of discoverative AI is that true intelligence shouldn't just fit existing knowledge. It must build models, propose hypotheses, and correct its understanding by interacting with the world. An AI-native company is the projection of discoverative mindset at organizational level. It demands that a company become a platform for discovery, not just a container for processes. If organizations are evolving into a new species, their digital infrastructure must mutate too. It raises us a tough question. Can our current systems, the ERPs built to solidify processes, the SaaS built to streamline functions, handle this liquid intelligence? They are essentially digital projections of old management logic. Patching them might buy temporary peace, but it's using an old map to find a new world. Therefore, AI-native companies need a new operating system, one focused not on resource planning, but on cognitive evolution. When management exits, intelligence rises. Management won't disappear, but for the first time, it will be built on a foundation of intelligence, not on the ruins of biology. The future company isn't about humans leading intelligence, but rather about intelligence expanding what humans can do.